Welcome to Finance Trice, the world's modern broadcast hub for all things finance. From investing strategies to economic updates, from crypto insights to real world money lessons, every broadcast is designed to help you think smarter, plan wiser, and grow.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we take the fire hose of information and turn it into highly distilled insight, customized just for you.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are tackling one of the most stubborn pieces of financial wisdom out there. I mean, it's a foundational rule so deeply ingrained that it really acts as a barrier for millions.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about the myth that it takes money to make money.
It truly is the gatekeeper myth, isn't it? It frames the entire process of wealth generation as inherently exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. That's the word.
The implicit message is just so clear. If you don't have some initial seed capital, some surplus to invest, you're just stuck. You're outside the wealth creation loop. And in today's economy, that message is crushing.
Exactly. And let's spend a moment setting the stage for why this specific myth is so, psychologically painful right now. We are currently navigating a period of intense economic flux.
To say the least.
We have inflation, and not just eroding savings, but running faster than many people's annual raises. Traditional career stability is, it's a quickly diminishing asset.
It really is.
For so many of our listeners, the aspiration of true financial independence, of having agency over their time and resources, it just feels impossibly distant.
And that's what results in what the sources are calling the great investment paradox.
Right.
Intellectually, that capital is what you need to leverage and generate substantial returns. Of course it is.
But if you're trapped in student loan debt, or if, 80% of your paycheck is already allocated to rent and essentials, how do you even begin to generate that initial capital?
You can't. You're stuck waiting for a windfall, a lucky lottery ticket, or spending 5 years gaining some seriously high-paying, in-demand skill that you don't currently possess. It feels like a trap.
And the common refrain is that this paradox is just. It's the immutable law of the financial jungle, that this is the only way the game is played.
But the source material we're digging into today, and it's an incredibly detailed chronicle of a successful personal investigation, it fundamentally argues that this entire narrative is obsolete.
Obsolete. I like that.
It's a framework that belongs to the industrial age, before the digital economy fully matured.
So what's the goal here? What are we trying to extract from this story for you, the listener?
It's a compelling thesis. The goal of this deep dive is to perform a systematic deconstruction of that zero investment barrier. We are analyzing a specific, replicable blueprint.
A blueprint.
Exactly. A story of transformation where an individual started with literally zero capital, massive student debt, and frankly, overwhelming anxiety, and successfully built a system that consistently generated $100 a day purely by monetizing knowledge they already had.
And what makes this chronicle journey so resonant is the starting point. It's so relatable. 3 years prior to establishing this stability, the author describes a specific, suffocating environment.
It's very vivid.
They were in a cramped third-floor apartment, and I think many listeners can relate to this detail. The kind of place where the walls are so thin, you can hear your neighbor's low-level anxiety permeating the air.
And the atmosphere was defined by, the scent of stale coffee and the omnipresent, high-pitched hum of a laptop fan struggling to keep a dying machine alive.
That anxious hum is such a perfect metaphor for the financial desperation that drove this whole investigation.
It really is. The author describes just scrolling relentlessly night after night, searching for a way out. They looked at every common piece of advice. Buy this expert course, invest in this volatile stock, purchase this specialized software.
And every single one of those paths led to the same dead end.
Every single one. They all required the one thing they did not have: money to start. This cycle of hope, followed by the crushing realization of that financial gate, created this incredible weight of helplessness.
They're trapped by debt, caught in a job that was merely a holding pattern, convinced that this exhausting, cyclical failure was just their permanent reality. So the source makes a very important distinction here. This entire entrepreneurial effort wasn't sparked by some flash of genius or some grand, innovative idea.
No, not at all. It was born out of Sheer, unadulterated desperation.
But that desperation, and this is key, was immediately channeled not into reckless risk-taking, but into a methodical, systematic process.
That transformation of emotional energy into procedural focus is the first critical insight. It's huge.
How so?
They stopped viewing the solution as some external opportunity they needed to buy into and started viewing it as an internal asset they needed to extract and systematize. A complete paradigm shift.
Which gives us our clear roadmap for you. We're going to unpack the exact 4-step blueprint, the micro-expertise method that made this shift possible.
Step by step.
We're going to see, step by step, how that initial anxiety was systematically converted into repeatable, reliable, independent income generation.
So let's transition now from the emotional pain of the financial paradox to the core investigation that challenged it. The author realized that continuing to look for capital-intensive solutions was, well, it was insanity. It was doing the same thing over and over.
Right, hitting the same wall.
So they guided their entire investigation with one simple yet pretty radical question: where does value truly originate in the digital economy?
And the answer required a significant counterintuitive shift in focus. They had to stop looking for traditional job listings or the latest speculative investment vehicle.
Completely. The focus shifted entirely inward, toward redefining what an asset actually is in the 21st century.
It's not about what you have in the bank.
Not at all. And the data strongly supports this shift. Our source cites a key insight from a 2023 report by the Freelance Union, which details a monumental change in the landscape of independent work.
I found this part fascinating.
For decades, the gig economy was popularly associated with physical logistical tasks. Think driving, delivery, maintenance, that sort of thing.
Sure. Uber, DoorDash, that's what comes to mind.
Exactly. But the report clearly demonstrates that the fastest growing and now massive segment is dedicated to knowledge work.
And this is critical because it collapses the barrier to entry.
It totally shatters it. You don't need a vehicle, you don't need a massive inventory, specialized machinery, or real estate. Your sole required tool is your brain connected to the internet.
This is where that old misconception of the asset completely breaks down.
It does. The author realized the barrier wasn't a lack of opportunities out there in the world. It was a fundamental internal failure to recognize the resources they already possess.
They had no money, but they termed their true asset, their hidden, untapped capital, as something far more valuable.
I love that phrase, hidden, untapped capital.
And they defined that capital as 20-plus years of accumulated experiences, hobbies, solved problems, and the systems built to overcome frustrations.
That's such a powerful reframing.
It is. It means the frustration you overcame last year while setting up your home network or, the system you developed to track your monthly expenses, that isn't just a memory.
It's a marketable skill. It's a lived experience that generates immediate value.
And this leads directly to the core aha moment of the digital age strategy.
Right. The revelation wasn't about finding some secret technical loophole or a complex algorithm. It was realizing that in an era saturated with information, where everyone can Google anything, the raw information itself is cheap.
So what's valuable?
What is priceless is clarity. Making sense of that information, organizing it, and applying it to a specific problem for someone else, that is the most valuable commodity.
Okay, but wait, let me push back on that a little bit. If the barrier to entry is so low, doesn't that mean you're immediately competing with, the top PhDs and decades-long experts?
That's a great question.
Why should anyone pay you if they can find that information for free?
That is the perfect question, and it's the core of the psychological barrier. The source explicitly addresses this.
Okay.
You are not competing with the top 1% of the world's specialists. The standard expertise required is dramatically lower than people assume.
Lower how?
The author realized you just need to know slightly more than the person who is currently asking the question. That difference, that small knowledge delta, that is the monetizable gap.
So we're talking about reframing expertise. You're not trying to be a world-leading macroeconomist.
Oh, no.
You are just trying to be the person who can efficiently save someone else 7 hours of frustrating research or, complex technical execution.
Precisely. If you can eliminate the client's headache right now, you have provided value. Think of it like this. If a small business owner is losing $50 a day because their inventory tracking spreadsheet is broken,
Okay.
they don't need a 5-figure consulting report. They need someone who knows the VLOOKUP function better than they do, and they need that fix within the hour.
So it's about speed and application.
It's about efficiency.
Yeah.
That efficiency is what they pay for. It's immediate applied value.
So having established that the new capital is your existing knowledge,
Right.
the next logical question is how you systematically transform that asset into currency. This brings us to the actionable blueprint, the micro-expertise method. And we begin with step 1, identification, which the author wisely calls the honest audit.
This step is deceptively challenging because it forces you to confront and discard your own assumptions about your value.
How so?
We tend to undervalue the things we find easy. If you can breathe, you don't consider breathing a special skill. But if you have expertise in breathing better, that's immediately valuable to an asthmatic or a marathon runner.
So the shift in focus is crucial. Forget what you think the global market values.
Forget it completely.
Instead, look at the micro-interactions of your daily life. Audit the problems you habitually solve for free for friends, family, or even colleagues.
The source provides great examples of these low-visibility but high-value tasks. Are you the person who is always relied upon to set up complex new gadgets or troubleshoot frustrating connectivity issues?
Or are you the fitness enthusiast whose tailored advice actually helps friends lose 10 pounds?
Right. Or, as the author realized, are you the go-to person for taming monstrous, complicated spreadsheets?
The author's personal example untangling disorganized data is fascinating because they initially dismissed it entirely. They thought, anyone who works in an office can do this. It's a basic skill. But that's where the perspective of information arbitrage comes into play.
Information arbitrage is the intellectual framework here. It is leveraging a knowledge gap for profit.
Let's break down the mechanics of that.
Okay, so the author possesses a basic skill, let's say spreadsheet organization, that they acquired over 20 years of just living and working.
Okay.
The client, say, a jewelry maker selling on Etsy, is a genius at making jewelry, but struggles intensely with data. Their disorganized spreadsheet is actively costing them money and causing them immense stress.
So the client's pain point is high. The cost to them of solving it internally, in time, stress, errors, is steep.
Very steep. But the cost to the author of solving it externally, which is maybe an hour or two of focused work, is low.
I see.
Exactly. That difference in valuation is the arbitrage opportunity. The author views the skill as cheap, but the small business owner views the solution as a $100 headache they're thrilled to delegate.
So the client pays for the efficiency and the elimination of that massive stress, not for the technical brilliance of the solution.
Precisely. Which makes the critical takeaway abundantly clear. You don't need to compete with global experts.
Right.
You must only be the expert in that specific room, the room where the client is experiencing a highly specific, costly pain point. This redefines competition completely. Once that micro-expertise is identified, step 2 is perhaps the most necessary strategic shift. Packaging.
Packaging, okay.
The most abstract, difficult-to-sell thing in the world is an undefined skill. This step is about transforming that skill into a concrete, tangible, sellable offer.
So you can't just go to a market and announce you are good at data entry or organization.
No, that is a generalist offer. The market discounts generalists. You need to transition from offering an abstract ability to offering a definitive productized solution.
And the author's example perfectly illustrates this transformation.
It really does. They didn't say, I can help you with your inventory. They packaged it as, I create a one-page automated financial dashboard for Etsy sellers to track their profit and inventory in real time.
Wow. That is surgical in its precision.
Isn't it?
It defines the audience, Etsy sellers, the format, one-page automated dashboard, and the immediate specific result, track profit and inventory in real time.
That is a product with a defined scope, price, and deliverable. It's not a skill anymore. It's a thing.
A thing you can sell. And this packaging was achieved using tools that required absolutely zero financial outlay, reinforcing the core thesis.
Which is the whole point.
Yeah.
The operational work was done via Google Sheets. The packaging itself, creating a simple, professional-looking explainer PDF or pitch document outlining the service, was handled with the free tier of Canva.
And communication.
All communication was through a standard free Gmail account. Zero cost.
Okay, wait. I have to be the skeptical proxy here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't using Google Sheets and Canva just substituting financial capital for time capital?
That's a fair challenge.
Doesn't the author address the huge time investment required to master these tools, make them look professional, and then find clients?
They do. And the author notes that the time investment is significant, but it's a necessary trade-off when financial capital is zero.
So you're trading time for money, essentially.
You are, but they argue that the key is focusing only on the micro expertise required. You don't need to master 90% of Google Sheets functionality. You only need to master the 10% necessary to deliver that one automated dashboard solution. You are not mastering the tool, you are mastering the one product you sell.
That distinction, specializing in the tool for a single product, is what makes the time investment justifiable. It's focused rather than generalized.
Exactly. And furthermore, the analysis of this step draws heavily from behavioral psychology. Packaging reduces the cognitive load for the buyer.
What do you mean by cognitive load?
If a client is drowning in confusion, they are experiencing cognitive friction. They want the easiest path to resolution. They don't want more decisions to make.
So the package service acts like a pre-made meal kit for their specific business problem.
That's a perfect analogy. Exactly. When you present the XC dashboard solution, the buyer doesn't have to spend mental energy figuring out what deliverables they need, how many hours it will take, or what software they should use.
You've solved all those complex decisions for them.
You have. They pay for that reduced mental effort, and they pay for the guaranteed result of the defined package. This is why clients are willing to pay a specialist's fee rather than trying to find a cheaper generalist.
We've established the knowledge and packaged the offer. Now comes step 3, marketplace engagement. This is the stage where traditional businesses spend thousands on advertising and infrastructure. The micro-expertise method radically flips this script by arguing that you need to ditch the marketing budget and focus on the trust strategy.
The false assumption is that you need a slick landing page, elaborate email funnels, and constant paid ads to find your first client. It's just not true.
So what's the alternative?
The author found that in the current digital landscape, your target clients are already aggregated, actively voicing their pain points and looking for immediate help. You just need to show up in the right virtual rooms.
So instead of building a shop and waiting for traffic, you go to the places the customers are already gathered.
You go to them.
For the Etsy seller micro-expertise, this meant specific, hyper-focused locations. Reddit subreddits dedicated to small e-commerce entrepreneurship.
Closed Facebook groups for specific types of small business owners, and utilizing the free entry tiers of established freelance platforms like Upwork and Fiverr.
The operative phrase here is the trust strategy.
Yes. It is about generating leads without spamming or pitching. The technique is purely rooted in providing genuine, detailed value first.
So what does that look like in the trenches? If you're in an Etsy seller subreddit, how do you provide value without just handing out the entire solution for free? That's a fine line to walk.
It requires generosity and restraint. The author spent significant time just answering genuine questions, offering detailed, relevant advice that partially solved a mini problem or pointed the user in the right general direction.
Building a reputation.
Exactly. They built a reputation as a credible, helpful resource. Only after establishing themselves, and only when it was entirely appropriate to the context of the conversation, did they mention their low-cost, fully implemented service.
So they were not a billboard. They were a respected, knowledgeable colleague offering advice.
Yes. And this is truly the purest form of cause and effect.
How so?
The cause is genuine helpfulness, detailed public replies, and solving small, trust-building problems. The effect is credibility, which leads directly to paying clients because the hard work of building trust has already been done in the public sphere.
It completely short-circuits an ad for a massive marketing spend.
Totally. And the first win anecdote is the perfect illustration of this transition.
This is the good part.
The author describes spotting a detailed problem in a Reddit thread, a question about linking their inventory sheet to their sales sheet, and spending 20 minutes writing a comprehensive 5-paragraph reply detailing the logic of the solution.
Just giving away the logic for free.
Giving away the how-to blueprint. That detailed comment provided immense value, but it still required implementation.
Which is the hard part for the person asking.
Right. The original poster messaged the author privately, admitting they understood the logic but lacked the time and confidence to implement it. They asked, "How much would you charge to just do this for me?"
And that was it. That was the jump from free advice to the first paid work.
That was the moment. The price point was $50 for the custom implementation of the automated dashboard.
Just $50.
Just $50.
Yeah.
And the author notes that by repeating that process, finding a similar lead, and implementing the identical solution, they successfully earned their first $100 day.
That single moment is the empirical proof of concept.
It is. Going from debt and desperation to $100 in a single day, leveraging only existing knowledge and free communication tools, entirely dismantles the myth that financial capital is necessary to begin.
So once that proof of concept is established, the repeatable, sustainable $100 day, we move into the final step. Step 4, iteration and scaling. This is where the side hustle transforms into a true microbusiness.
The critical phase here is refinement. The successful Etsy seller dashboard was analyzed not as a one-off gig, but as a repeatable product template.
So you stop doing one-off custom jobs and start thinking like a product owner.
Exactly. The author refined the actual deliverable and, critically, improved the client experience by bundling it with an additional layer of value. A simple 3-minute video tutorial on how to use the dashboard moving forward.
That's smart. It reduces future support questions.
It does, and once the product was solidified and the process streamlined, they were able to confidently raise the price.
Which demonstrates a clear understanding of value growth. Once the solution is proven, documented, and easier to replicate, the market supports a higher, more professional price point.
That's the transition from personalized service to a scalable, productized offering. And this scalability connects directly to powerful, established economic theories.
Like what?
Specifically, the micro-expertise method is optimized for the long-tail theory.
Okay, let's expand on the long tail. Traditionally, that referred to niche products like books or music dominating aggregated sales. How does that translate to knowledge work?
Think of the demand curve. At the head of the curve are the few massive, high-ticket consulting jobs, the $5,000 to $10,000 contracts that every major firm and top-tier generalist freelancer fights over.
Right. The competition there is brutal and expensive.
The micro-expertise method avoids this entirely.
Instead, it taps into the long tail of the demand curve.
Precisely. The long tail represents the massive, underserved market of hyper-niche, specific, yet individually small problems.
Okay, so give me an example.
Instead of trying to be a top-tier general financial consultant, you focus on becoming the best spreadsheet dashboard creator for Etsy sellers. That niche problem, while individually small, is repeated by hundreds of thousands of people globally.
So, while the competition for the big projects is fierce, the competition for the highly specific $100 micro problem is almost non-existent.
Almost zero.
Yeah.
And the source emphasizes that this opportunity is inherently global. Your ability to solve that specific problem, whether it's streamlining inventory or optimizing tax organization, is needed whether the client is struggling in Omaha, Nebraska or in Oslo, Norway.
The global digital marketplace aggregates enough of these niche problems to sustain a consistent, reliable income stream.
Yes.
Now let's explore the psychological insight they brought in, Dr. Dan Ariely's IKEA effect. That's a fascinating thing to apply to service work.
It really is. The IKEA effect states that people place a disproportionately higher value on things they feel they had a hand in creating or assembling.
It's an emotional connection to the product.
Yeah.
Because you built it.
Right. And applied to service, this is highly potent.
So how does the dashboard creator leverage that? They aren't asking the client to write the VLOOKUP functions.
No, but they leverage co-creation. When the author initially scopes the project, they involve the client in the design process. They ask specific questions. What metrics are most important to you? What color scheme makes this dashboard easiest for you to read? What naming conventions do you use?
This personalization, this structured feedback loop, gives the client a sense of ownership.
It absolutely does. You are not handing them generic software. You are handing them their customized solution.
And that tailored deliverable becomes infinitely more valuable to them than a cheaper, standardized, off-the-shelf application.
It appeals to their logic because it solves the problem perfectly, and their emotion because they feel they help shape the result. This client loyalty is crucial for scaling through testimonials and referrals.
This entire framework is incredibly empowering, but the source includes crucial warnings. It's essential to treat this seriously.
Very serious.
This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is the establishment of a lean, agile business, and that comes with very real ethical, legal, and psychological responsibilities.
The first non-negotiable warning is ethical. Transparency. The source is adamant that you must never inflate your credentials.
What does that mean in practice?
You are a problem solver. You are a specialist in a micro niche. You are not a world-renowned consultant because you built an automated sheet. Be honest about what you do and what you don't do.
And maintaining that ethical transparency directly feeds back into the trust strategy we discussed in Step 3.
Of course. Overstating your capabilities to secure a larger contract will guarantee failure and instantly destroy the reputation you are working so hard to build.
And then there are the practical, legal, and financial consequences. This is where people get tripped up.
This is a big one. The moment the first dollar is earned, you are, in most jurisdictions, likely operating as a sole proprietor.
And that isn't a nebulous concept. It requires immediate, decisive administrative action.
Yes, we have to be explicit here. This is not a loophole around taxation.
So what is the mandatory day one administrative action required?
Mandatory tracking. The author notes the ultimate irony. You must use a simple spreadsheet to log every single payment, every expense, and every client interaction from day one.
From the very first $50.
From $1. You need this for proper reporting. You cannot wait until the end of the year to try and piece together 12 months of $50 payments. It'll be a nightmare.
That seems like an overwhelming administrative burden when you're just trying to make an extra $100 a day. Does the source offer any advice on mitigating that?
It stresses simplicity. For many starting out, a simple ledger, sheet tracking date, client, service provided, and amount is sufficient.
Keep it simple.
They also suggest immediately setting aside a percentage of every payment, acknowledging that quarterly tax payments will become a necessary reality once the income is consistent.
Right. You have to be your own payroll department.
It's the cost of having an agile, independent system. The message is clear. Professionalize immediately.
Okay, let's move to the barrier the author says was actually the largest to overcome, the psychological hurdle.
Imposter syndrome. That feeling is almost universal when moving from employee to independent service provider. The doubt is pervasive.
Yeah, that voice in your head that says, am I good enough? Someone smarter will expose me. My simple spreadsheet fix couldn't possibly be worth $50.
We tend to measure ourselves against the highest theoretical standard, the global elite, when in reality, we should be measuring ourselves against the client's current state of frustration.
That's a huge perspective shift.
It is. The source offers an invaluable way to reframe it. Clients are not evaluating your CV or your formal education.
What are they evaluating?
A single metric. Can you save them time and frustration and provide a tangible result right now? Their priority is pain relief.
The knowledge that you don't need to be the #1 world authority, you just need to eliminate their immediate headache. That must be incredibly liberating for someone starting out.
It is the ultimate psychological tool, and that's why the $100 a day goal is about more than money. It's a confidence builder.
Exactly. The author emphasizes that it's about building competence and reputation through successful execution. Every small win, every completed project, and every happy client testimonial serves as an active empirical counterargument to the internal voice of imposter syndrome.
So the transformation, therefore, is complete. The initial, sheer, unadulterated desperation we started with is channeled. It's no longer a crippling emotional state. It is focused motivation guided by a systematic process. Anxiety is replaced by action, and action delivers competence and financial independence.
It's the ultimate proof that the most potent form of self-investment is internal investing, the time and focus required to systematically apply your existing unique knowledge.
Right.
So to summarize the intensive blueprint we've deconstructed today, we have successfully challenged the obsolete myth that capital is required to generate wealth in the modern knowledge economy.
We have.
We've established that your unique experience is the true asset. And we walked through the 4 essential steps of the micro-expertise method. Step 1. Identification, conducting the honest audit of the problems you solve for free, recognizing your 20-plus years of accumulated experience as hidden capital.
And identifying high-value information arbitrage opportunities.
Then step 2, packaging, transforming that abstract skill, like data organization, into a defined, productized service, such as the one-page automated dashboard, using zero-cost tools.
And that strategic packaging reduces the cognitive load and justifies a specialist price point.
Then, step 3, marketplace engagement, abandoning expensive marketing in favor of the trust strategy. You go where clients are already asking for help and provide genuine, free value first, leading naturally to paid implementation.
Which is how the first $100 was secured.
And finally, step 4, iteration and scaling, refining the product, bundling tutorials, and confidently raising prices.
This taps into the long tail of hyper-niche global problems while leveraging the IKEA effect to create emotional ownership and deepen client satisfaction.
The final, liberating assertion from the source is that this entire successful blueprint relies entirely on the single most valuable asset you already possess, your own unique, lived experience and knowledge.
You are the resource. You are the infrastructure.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought for you to carry with you after this deep dive.
This is your personal audit.
What is one skill you have right now? One problem you effortlessly solve for friends or family that you have never considered monetizing, no matter how insignificant it seems.
Really think about it.
Write it down. Maybe it's organizing vacation photos into albums. Maybe it's optimizing complicated software settings or writing concise, punchy email copy.
Once you've named that skill, consider the most persistent barrier we discussed. What is the single biggest thing holding you back from trying to get out? Step 2, packaging it as a defined, low-cost solution.
Is it imposter syndrome? Is it the fear of the administrative burden? Identify that hurdle. The knowledge you need is within you, and the systems to monetize it are free. The successful investigation we studied proves that you don't need permission, and you certainly don't need capital that may never materialize.
Stop waiting.
Stop waiting for the grand investment. Your expertise is your asset. The time to invest in yourself is now.